Hi there, and welcome to the second in the Azure cost optimization video series, following on from Carl's first video. And in this one, I just want to go through non-disruptive ways to cut Azure costs. My name is William Nelson. I'm a Microsoft sales specialist with the version 1 SAM practice. So the first way that we look to non-disruptively reduce Azure costs is through Azure Hybrid Benefit. Now, this is deemed as a benefit that's associated with licenses with software assurance, as well as service subscription licenses through CSP and volume licensing. The key benefit being that Azure Hybrid Benefit essentially mitigates the rental cost of Windows Server and SQL Server licenses in Azure on a per VM basis. But when optimized, this can really help provide savings greater than the cost of the server subscription or the software assurance in itself, so provides a return on investment. It's a trust-based mechanism, so it is just literally a flip the switch process within Azure. So there is management and governance that needs to be maintained to ensure that not falling foul of licensing rules. But what it also does is just cover the cost of the software licensing itself within Azure. So there's still the compute and the storage and the backup, etc., that still need to be paid for. It also includes dual use rights on some licenses. So for example, Windows Server Data Center, if you have that on-prem with software assurance or as a subscription, you can run that both on-prem and at the same time in Azure as well. So it gives that added benefit. And there's also limited time dual use rights for Windows Server Standard and SQL Server, both again with software assurance or a subscription for 180 days for migrating from on-prem into Azure. And the final one, which isn't Microsoft, but it's another AHB benefit, is for Linux. So Red Hat, for example, if you have a support subscription for applicable Red Hat licenses, they could be used in Azure to mitigate the rental costs there. Moving on to additional non-disruptive optimization measures. So there's two key areas on this piece, and that's reserved instances and savings plans. Now, reserved instances is where a customer commits to 1 or 3 years paid monthly to reduce the cost of the same specification resources. So essentially, it's a commitment to, for example, virtual machine or Kubernetes or SQL managed services, for example. The list is on the slide there. And it just reduces the monthly cost that you're running those resources at. And the savings plan disperses the costs across more resources without actually specifying exactly which resources it's going to. So it's like a discount scheme, essentially, for a whole collection of resources in Azure for a prepaid commitment. Moving on to additional non-disruptive. So I've already covered the dual use rights, but there's also an interesting one on productivity servers. So if you're running Exchange or SharePoint servers in Azure, and you already have a Microsoft 365 E5 license under an enterprise agreement, that entitles you to run as many server instances of Exchange or SharePoint that you wish to in Azure without having to pay for those licenses again. There's also the ability, if you have Dynamics 365 subscriptions, enterprise subscriptions, then you can run an unlimited number of server instances in Azure without incurring additional Dynamics 365 server licensing costs. And that's under both CSP and an enterprise agreement licensing scheme. So just a very brief insight into how we can help reduce the costs of running Azure, but without disrupting or changing anything, to give some food for thought. So we have a software asset management YouTube playlist, which will provide the video links and also be able to view and rewatch these videos. So if you want to take a visit there, and in the next video, it's going to be my colleague Richard, who's going to be looking at the ways of licensing test development environments in a more effective and optimized way in Azure using entitlements that customers may already have. So it's a brief thank you, and to say please contact us, and we'll be happy to help in any way we can with any Microsoft related inquiries.